What's up, guys? Happy Monday. Welcome into Money Shots. I'm back. I'm home. It's the 3-day-a-week gambling show where sometimes me these days, Kelly, Rico, Che, we're here to give you the best gambling advice possible. But on Mondays, we recap the weekend. Kelly, how are we feeling?
Well, first of all, happy birthday, Megan, making money. Let's see if we can't make some money on this beautiful Monday. My weekend was fucking horrible. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It was absolute trash. Let's see. It started off with West Virginia in the 9 a.m. slate. And yeah, Sonny Dykes, for some reason, less than 20 seconds to go on his own, like 30-ish, 35, I don't really recall because I kind of blacked out after this moment, decides to basically throw a 35-yard pass into the end zone. And yeah, I don't know why he didn't take a knee or two or three, but he didn't. And that fucking sucked. Outside of Notre Dame, it was all downhill from there. Kentucky kicks
So
excuse
can
me,
we go
Kentucky.
ahead and say that Tennessee is fucking real and that they really do have a genuine possibility? I mean, obviously, everyone has a genuine possibility of beating another team. But as far as Georgia goes, like, I truly feel watching this Tennessee team that they have something extremely special. And, you know, when that comes down to that time, that they actually could beat this Georgia team.
I got to look into it a little bit more, Megan. Obviously, it's only Monday. I don't want to discredit anything Tennessee's done, and I said that. But I thought this Kentucky defense would really show up. They score a touchdown, miss a PAT. I walk out of the room. I'm at a holiday party, and I walk back into the room, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, it was like the wheels fell off immediately. And I was like, all
Speaking
right.
of wheels falling off immediately, congratulations to your K-State Wildcats because I could not have had a dumber look taking Okie State there. I thought I was a genius. Gundy catching points. Well, why not? Because they laid a fucking goose egg between that and me and Waco's Wake Forest pick. I was pretty much dead in the water as far as those two were concerned. But besides,
K-State was literally the only highlight of my weekend, Megan. That was literally like, yeah, everything else was just absolute and utter garbage. I
well,
look back every like Sunday or Saturday evening at my slate and like here's my week 9 and week 8 NFL like notes and things I look at and I'm like, okay, great. A&M shit the bed. Glad I didn't play Pittsburgh. But you know what pissed me off? I got UConn on my radar. Our buddy Jack Mack, you know, the TikTok star, put in my mentions when I said anybody like any double-digit dogs, said not a double digits, UConn. Looked at him, wrote him down, didn't give him a second nod. Easy outright winner over BC. I don't know if it's just that time of the year where we're starting to see the lines tighter by the bookmakers, but it is just goddamn infuriating at this point.
I hear you because two of the bets that I liked, but I was just like, man, I don't want to take it with the hook. The line hasn't moved, it hasn't budged. Loved Illinois minus 7.5 this week.
Ooh.
I don't played them, but I refused to give that one out. Refused to give Baylor out as well because I felt like those were just two that I was going to lose in a terrible fashion. Turned out two easy winners. The ones
Yeah.
that I did give out though, the two big old duds in Wake Forest and Okie State. That was just pretty gross. I will say shout out to UNC. What a squad! Quietly one of the better squads in the country.
There's one that I'm happy I didn't play. I had Pittsburgh on my long list. Very glad that I stayed off there. I thought that UNC defense was going to be a little suspect. This was just one of those weeks, Megan. You're right. I had Illinois minus 7. When it moved to 7.5, I'm like, well, can't play it now. So I didn't.
It's just
And
such a significant change. I mean, like you
it
can't
is.
you can't
It
have
is.
a 7.5 ticket and then it be at 7 and or vice versa and give it out or it just
Well,
if you
and I had somebody get mad at me about Notre Dame +3, but I'm like, I gave it out last Monday with Rico. I gave it out at 3 on Monday with Rico. So I'm sorry if it's no longer 3. And I said on the spaces with Mintz, just take the money line. Take the +105 at the Barstool Sportsbook. Notre Dame's going to win this game. We've seen this reverse line movement.
You were
And
completely spot on about it being a flat spot for Syracuse. I mean, that was you nailed that like dead on the head as far as that game was concerned.
it's just tough, Megan. You're asking 19 and 20-year-old literal kids. And I can say that because I'm freaking 20 years older than most of them. But in all reality, you've got a perfect season on the line. And then how do you come back from that? And it comes down to coaching. It comes down to discipline. It comes down to really how you have your team motivated. And I did think, and the reason why I didn't bet K State this week is coming off that TCU loss
Right.
after playing a third string quarterback. How does K State bounce back here at home
And
with
that's
two
how, and that's
losses?
why I played Okie State, because I thought that y'all essentially kind of lost that game twice with Martinez going down. Howard obviously is a fantastic second string
Yeah.
for you guys. Like,
And hopefully he gets to redshirt and be the starter next year. He was a backup behind Skyler. But you're right, because I was told by everybody when I bet Oklahoma State the previous week, catching 6.5 versus Texas, how they're in a letdown spot after TCU. I do think it comes down to a lot of coaching. And while the Syracuse Orange are a good football program, they've definitely overachieved. And when you're up 11 points on Clemson in Death Valley #2, you can't come back from that very easily, especially Notre Dame. This team is just so up and down. Notre Dame has just been wildly inconsistent this year, but they find consistency when they need to.
what did you think of the Ohio State Penn State game? Because obviously you've taken Rico's favorite state, Penn, and I feel like every time you've taken them, they've absolutely just blown up in your face. Then Ohio State, and I feel like they came out and they obviously show that they can turn it on and rip some fucking points whenever they need to. But I mean, it was relatively scary there for this Ohio State team for a minute.
So if you guys aren't listening to the Saturday Spaces we do an hour before kickoff, I actually love doing it with Mintz because Mintz asks me questions that I don't think of myself. And he brought up the Penn State Michigan game, and I said, listen, they played one half of football. And then we started talking about the Ohio State Iowa game the previous week, and I said, okay, why don't we do a little team ticket here, Penn State first half? And so he and I did play it, and that's exactly what we saw from Penn State. How Ohio State didn't cover that game is beyond me. They gave up a late kind of soft score, if you will. So Penn State got the backdoor cover. I actually feel really bad for anybody that was holding a Ohio State minus 14.5 ticket. If they bet it early, that would have been very, very gross. Florida too, man. Florida came roaring back in the third against Georgia, and I thought, well, they're going to make a game of it. Nope, game lands 22. Everybody that laid 22.5, dead on loser.
I also want to say, pat myself on the back for looking extremely smart with Arkansas, and obviously with
Yeah, Brian Harsin just got fired at Auburn too.
Getting today, so that one to me just felt like Auburn had just been a sinking fucking ship all season long. And as I said, they did put up some points against Ole Miss, but Ole Miss didn't look great against A&M last week. So it's like maybe I'm on Team Brandon Walker saying that Ole Miss is fraudulent and they're trash. Or maybe I just don't like Ole Miss and they.
I think there's quite a few fraudulent teams, Megan, and I think that's the problem.
I'm really
right?
excited for LSU Bama this week to see how that goes. Because obviously that is going to be like our toughest challenge. I just wipe away that Tennessee game because, as I said, that was lost in the first 30 seconds. There was no way we were ever going to win that game after the muff punt by Besh, but it's okay. It's neither here nor there.
Well, and I tried to say that on Twitter, like after Kentucky missed the PAT, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it was the missed PAT," and I'm like, "Bro, you're missing the point. Like you miss a PAT, then you go back out on defense, you give up a quick tutty, and guess what? It's really hard for these teams. Again, young kids." Mark Stoops should have his team better coached than that. And that defense, I expected more of. But yeah, Tennessee's offense looked really good. Their Achilles heel is going to be their defense. And I think that's what we're going to see this weekend versus Georgia. But yeah, I'm going to be looking towards the balls and the points here, Megan, at least early on.
I'm going to have to go ahead and agree with you there. Let's go ahead and move on to NFL / Hills to Die On, because I want to go ahead and say that I am never going to put the Rams in a teaser probably ever again. This is the second time they've burned me on 8.5 fucking points, or 8 points. I'm sorry, the last time was 8.5 points. But what is going on with Matthew Stafford? What is going on with that? Like, what I need you to tell me what's happening, because I cannot believe that was the leg that I lost. Also, speaking of which, before y'all start listening to Kelly, make sure you are liking and subscribe to the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube page, and make sure you're following Money Shots on Twitter, on Instagram. Make sure you're following Kelly and I on Twitter, on Instagram, and make sure you head on over to the Barstool Sportsbook today, because it is Making Money Mondays. We'll start talking about that tonight's Monday Night Football game in just a second, but I do have the Bengals minus a 3.5 full game, Bengals minus 1.5 first half, and then a Joe Mixon anytime touchdown. And again, I'll break those down later. $25 opt in. And also, if y'all are a believer in the signs, it's plus 310. So 31 is in that. It's the 31st. It is my birthday. Or if you want to look at it, 31 or 10, 30, 10,
Hmm.
31. The signs, all I'm saying. So make sure you're liked and subscribed to the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube
I
page.
haven't seen
Make
a
sure you're
Jerry
not
sign lately.
what?
Has Jerry done a signs lately?
He did one about DeAndre Hopkins and his blind
Oh,
play.
I must have missed that
Yeah,
one.
but
Those are always interesting because
fantastic.
I'm not a big signs person. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm a big signs, like astrology signs person, but I don't pay enough attention in day-to-day life, so it's always interesting the signs that Jerry comes up with.
Also, I think I'm going to die on a hill that Josh McDaniels is going to be the next head coach fired because he
He
just,
has to be, right?
yeah, that like
Yeah,
the
I can go with that. Listen, Bill Belichick's disciples never seem to do well in head coaching positions, and then they all go back and work for him in some capacity. I didn't understand the Josh McDaniels hire. I didn't want him in Denver as a Denver fan. So when he left Denver and was doing various other coaching duties for other teams, and then the Raiders hired him because they fired Gruden so abruptly, I didn't fully understand that one. And also, I think there was a lot of hype surrounding this Raiders team this year. There's a lot of hype surrounding Derek Carr this year. I actually was super bitchy. We did get the fantasy win, but I was so bitchy to my fantasy football teammates because I said that I thought the AFC West was going to be a gauntlet. I really did. And I still thought that that would be the case. I was wrong, dead wrong on that hill. The Chiefs are definitely going to win the AFC West, but we have Herbert and Derek Carr on our fantasy team. And
that sucks.
so I realized that yesterday morning. I had the Saints in every single teaser humanly possible because we all know Andy Dalton can't win games, but he can keep it close, Megan. And the Saints have been a teaser moneymaker, and so I had them in.
The Saints fucking they looked fantastic
Yeah,
yesterday.
the Saints
Absolutely
defense looked great.
fantastic. Also, who looked fantastic, and I still my brain won't allow it. But the Seahawks are legit. Like I
Did
have
you
to go ahead and say it. Like I don't want to say it. It doesn't. My I guess again, my brain isn't like fully wrapped around it because it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
did you
But
hear what Tyler Lockett said?
no, what do you say?
Somebody wrote a blog about it, but basically it was Tyler used a quote from his high school, maybe like basketball coach or something. I've always followed Tyler since he was at K State, and so he has some really good mantras. He's a fairly religious guy, which I think kind of makes you more humble and less about yourself. And he basically said it's amazing what you can accomplish when no one needs to take credit for a win or loss. Like when you're all as a cohesive unit as a team, you have the same goal. Like again, these are all still professional athletes. Look at the Panthers. The Panthers gave the Falcons in a dogfight yesterday. All of a sudden, they get rid of Matt Rule. PJ Walker's a new starting quarterback, and get rid of one of the best running backs in the league. Now all of a sudden they're a good football team. I mean, they're full of professional athletes. I would hope that that would be the case, but I do think that that quote from Tyler is actually what's wrong with several teams. Tom Brady's making it all about himself. Aaron Rodgers is making it all about himself. Russell Wilson, I don't know if he's making it all about himself, but Russell is not very good, and he sold the Broncos a bill of.
Which I am so happy I did not bet. I died on the hill 2 weeks ago saying I will never bet another fucking London game, and I almost bet the Jags, almost. And I'm sitting there in the airport waiting for my flight, and I see that the Jags go up 3. I'm like, God damn it! I knew I should have taken the Jags. Then once I land, I look at the score and I go, nope. That's why I didn't bet this stupid fucking game. That's why I'm not betting Russell Wilson. I think it was PFT talking about how it's going to be so funny when he like comes out and it's like he's just completely trolled the NFL for the last fucking 10 years. Like
Basically.
he has to be a troll.
I mean, this man has a Super Bowl ring. It's very frustrating. I mean, literally, he's going to be 42 years old when the end of his contract is up in Denver. Like, what are we doing? You guys, I've said it 100 times. I cannot physically do things I was physically able to do as well 10, 20 years ago. Like, what are we doing having 40-year-old quarterbacks? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Aaron Rodgers included. I was very glad to get that cover last night, but
You
my
and me
God.
both, sister. You and me both, because that was not an ideal plus 10.5 sweat. Like who thought
You
that
know,
Aaron
it should have landed 3. They called the touchdown back. The Packers secondary came to play. They got 2 interceptions against Josh Allen. And the real reason why I went back and forth between my best bet of the Packers or best bet of the Niners, and I went back and forth on it, and it was because I really hate laying road chalk. We've talked about this several times before. And I just said, you know what? I like the Niners here. I'm gonna put the Rams in a teaser, and I'm gonna hope for one of those NFC West divisional games to end 28-24, and we're all gonna be super happy. But that was not the case. So you asked what was wrong with Matthew Stafford. I think he is really hurt. I do think also we saw that three main players of his are gone. When you get, Von Miller off defense and you get Odell Beckham Jr. no longer as a guy that can take the double team off Cup, these things can change dynamics and play calling. And when
You have
you
Cup
lose
in your
coaches,
fantasy league, right?
what's that?
You have Cup in your fantasy league,
I
right?
do have Cup.
How has
Luckily, he
how has that been this season?
Great. Cup has been amazing. Cup has been amazing. My fantasy team is 6-2. We had two shitty losses. One, we played Johnny Detroit, who is my boss over at Wager Talk, and we just got throttled because nobody came to play that day. And then the other loss was something absolutely stupid, like somebody got hurt. But Che has been a really integral part of that. Unfortunately, Gus Bradley hurt his hamstring in the Thursday night game. So hopefully he's okay this week because I need him. And we get Herbert back this week. So for the love of God, Derek Carr got me 3 points yesterday. 3 points, Megan.
That just simply won't do. Won't do.
Saints defense. We're not dead yet in the NFC South, in case anybody has been keeping track at home. And oh, by the way, that Vikings still in the NFC North. God,
Yeah,
this is
that's
like
a great
it's
call.
like I don't even have to try.
Great. That was a fantastic call. I said that to Alex last night. I was like, Kelly fucking nailed that. Like, absolutely nailed it.
Well, I nailed that the Bucks weren't going to be that good in the NFC South, but I didn't nail that Jameis was going to be hurt. I was going to be stuck with Andy Dalton. And oh, by the way, the Falcons are going to magically be okay. And
None
oh,
are
by the
getting. The
way,
Dolphins are good.
yeah,
I don't want to give the Dirty Birds their credit, but like Marcus Mariota has turned that team around. Like, congratulations, Mr. Mariota.
and
Like,
Matt Ryan is sitting on a bench right
and Matt
now
Ryan is blowing them line.
with Sam Ellinger, who
Horns
God,
down.
they just what are you going to do?
What are you
I
gonna
didn't
do? What are you
understand that
gonna
one at
do?
all.
We're gonna move ahead and talk about Monday Night Football. Is what we're gonna do.
Okay.
And as I said, I have a making money Mondays parlay. I already have the Bengals money line in the other half of my money line parlay, which was Vikings Bengals. So part of me wanted to kind of hedge and take the Browns in my parlay today, but I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Why? Because I think the Bengals have proven that they can stop the run. I think that the Browns that's what they're going to try to do is just control the clock and run this ball down the Bengals' throats. But I don't think it's gonna work. I think that they're going to try to stack the box, make Brissett beat the Bengals with his arm, and if it comes down, and I said this echoing my 60-second bets that'll come out a little bit later. If it comes down to a shootout, I will take Joe Burrow every single time, even though he's chaseless. Okay, I still think that he's going to be fine with T. Higgins, with Boyd, with Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon is going to get a ton of touches, a ton of looks, little dink and ducks from Joe Burrow, which is why I have him in the parlay as an only time or anytime touchdown scorer. Only time. Hopefully, he's not the only time that they score a touchdown because I need them minus the 3.5 full game. Need them minus 1.5 first half, which I think is a great bet, minus 122. Anytime touchdown score up with Joe Mixon. And then obviously I just need him to win because I have him in a money line parlay. Kelly's shaking her head because I have a feeling that she's going to be on
I'm going to
the
lose
side
it.
of the Browns.
Megan, I got to retire. This is the second time in less than 7 days that being on air has caused me to miss a really great number. I was going to take the 3.5. My buddy Ben's staying with us right now. Errol Epstein's staying with us right now. And I told him, I said, at 3.5, I got to take the Browns. These AFC North games always are 3.
Which
I don't care.
is why again I really thought about hedging and taking a parlay of the Browns, but I couldn't do it. Also, what a better two teams for a Halloween game, right?
Ooh, all the orange and brown and black.
Yeah, and the
We
black.
do have a 3.5 at the Barstool Sportsbook. It is now minus 120 though, and that frustrates me more than I can begin to explain to you. 3.5 was available all week, and so when 3.5 is available and it drops to 3, I have to remind myself that maybe it's okay to stay off the game. But I do lean towards the Browns here. I did not get involved because I don't know what to make of this Browns team, Megan.
I
They
think
are
I like
so
the
frustrating.
other side because I feel like the Bengals right now are gelling. They're playing their
They
best
are.
season. So I just like I couldn't like again the logical side of my brain says Megan you should make a parlay in order to hedge out of your money line bet, but it's like I couldn't. There's not something that my brain was putting together that it's like okay yeah I like all three of these sides with the Browns where it's like so easily me finding stuff. I mean they're allowing almost 300 passing yards per game at home. Joe Burrow is going to fucking gash this Browns defense. Like
He should.
he
He
is.
should. On paper, it looks like a Bengals play. Bengals have covered 5 straight. Obviously, I might have been a little bit wrong on the Bengals outside of the Dallas game when they played a really good defense.
They had
The
a
Bengals,
very slow start to the season. You were
they
right.
did.
We're gonna have a
But
hangover, but right now they are getting back into
yeah, and they
that
pushed
form
the
that they had
pace.
last
And we
season.
saw it last week with the Falcons. Like this guy is throwing nearly 500 yards a game. It's ridiculous. And yes, no Jamar Chase
I think his
hurts that.
passing yards for the prop is 273 and a half. I think is what I remember looking at it at. But
The only way I see Cleveland being able to win this game is they're going to have to use a two-headed monster in the backfield, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and they're going to have to push the pace of play. If they can control the time of possession here, slow down that Bengals defense by keeping their offense on the field. Like we need those like 5-6 minute like 90-yard drives from this
yeah,
Browns team.
I feel like the Bengals are going to be like how TCU was. As soon as they got the ball
Yep,
back, boom, it
they're
was
going
a
to score.
score.
Yep.
So it's just like you know.
Yep. That's exactly what this reminds me of. It's rather frustrating. I completely agree with you. I am at 3 going to stay off. 3.5 is still available at the Barstool Sportsbook. That is my hill to die on. Do not bet 3 when you could have had 3.5. There is still 3.5 available. I kind of lean towards the under here, which is absolutely and utterly terrifying. But that goes back to why I also lean towards the Browns. I think there's a correlation. If you like the Browns, bet the under. If you like the Bengals, bet the over because the Bengals, how are they going to win this game? It's going to be an absolute and utter shootout. Can the
Uh,
Browns keep up with them in a shootout? I don't know
no,
if they can.
I don't think so, which is why I decided to play the Bengals. I'm all in on the Bengals, if you will. And the times that this has happened to me with the Bengals, it's fared well in my favor. So I'm hoping that the stars align and I'll get a 3-0 parlay winner plus the
For
310.
your birthday, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bet the parlay just for your birthday.
Beautiful.
Unless
And
that's a
I'll know
mush
who, and
move.
then if it loses, I'll say that you mushed it. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. That's a great idea.
All right, make sure y'all go do that though. Head on over to the Barstool Sportsbook. Opt in. Don't forget to opt in because if not, you don't get your insurance. $25, and if the parlay hits, you get the plus 310. If not, you get $10 back for every leg that does hit. So make sure you do that. Make sure you're rewatching these episodes of Money Shots to keep your brain and your bets active because they're live all week on the Barstool Sportsbook YouTube page, which you should like and subscribe to. So we'll see you guys back on Thursday, which I'll be here Thursday, Friday. Don't have another trip planned for the foreseeable future, so I'm happy to be back. And Kelly, go enjoy your day. Booze, go enjoy your day. Everyone else, go enjoy your day. I will see y'all, or we will see y'all Thursday.